And then my symptoms progressed even worse and more concerning, where these flare-ups would take my speech, and I couldn't control any of it, and I couldn't function. So I'd go into a flare-up, I'd get shortness of breath and stuff, but that shortness of breath turned into I couldn't speak. I knew what was happening around me, I was aware, but I couldn't move, I couldn't talk, I couldn't respond to the people around me. And afterwards, my speech wouldn't come back straight away. It could be last a few minutes to up to 9 hours was the longest one that went. And when my speech did come back, it was I'd stutter, couldn't get the words out to say the full words properly. It was very difficult, and then it would just come back. So during these episodes, obviously the heart palpitation, and I noticed the blood pressure would rise, but now, and like the shakiness, I'd be shaking, and I'd feel like a heavy blanket all over my body. I couldn't move, feel hot and clammy, and then go absolutely freezing and shivery. Couldn't talk now, couldn't respond to you. And I couldn't swallow properly. So obviously back and forth into A&E again, the ambulances, and they before that, my dad suffers with allergies and similar symptoms that he could relate to what I was experiencing. Now he's had a TIA stroke, and long story short, he told me to try an antihistamine because it helped him with some of his symptoms that he was getting. So I tried the antihistamines, and I was one month I was 5 days free from these episodes, and then I got tonsillitis and my body went back into flare-ups, and then I went 12 days without these episodes, but then I get tonsillitis again, and it just threw me back to the beginning. So going back to the A&E visit when I was losing my speech, couldn't talk properly, I told them my dad's history, and they was back and forth. They didn't know if I was experiencing a stroke or seizures. So I was waiting to get told by the doctors, and they told me that I had managed to get an MRI scan and a CT scan of my head, and thankfully it was come back normal. But on my way home when they discharged me, they said that I did have a TIA stroke. So there'd been many strokes what I've been experiencing, and sent me home with aspirin, and there was another tablet what went with it. I can't remember the name of that. So obviously it was very distressing. Obviously my dad had experienced, a stroke, and also I've got family history of premature deaths regarding heart attacks, to do with the heart, and strokes runs in the family. So being 20, 28, 29 at the time, it was between two young children. It was heartbreaking. So not really more advice to give me, or just sent me home like, yeah, go back to your GP. So went back and forth to the GP again, and then the A&E doctors sent me on to a stroke specialist within the same week. So I went to see the stroke specialist, and he spoke to me, wrote a few notes down of what I was saying to him, and then turned round to his desk and whipped out a handwritten prescription. Before I even went into that room, he already diagnosed me without seeing me and gave me a prescription. Now he diagnosed me with, it's not a stroke, you've not had a stroke, and it's migraines. But I was just in disbelief, like, how can it be migraines? I've not been complaining of a headache. He's like, it's migraines. Just have a read up on it. So I was just left confused, frustrated. Like, I've gone from you telling me I've been having strokes to a migraine, and it just didn't fit. It just really did not make sense in all of this. So yeah, it's so frustrating.